Hello, I'm going to talk about games and how to win them. Actually, I'm not going to talk about every game, but only some sort of it. Only impartial games. So these are games between two players that have symmetrical opportunities. And obviously, the games must be finite because if both players skip their turn, it doesn't mean anything. So you might ask, well, if they have symmetrical things, it must must be really hard to like get who is going to win. And this is where the theorem of Sprague-Grundy helps us. It tells us that no matter which game that is impartial you study, if it's P space R, you can reduce it as a game of NIM that I'm going to talk about right after. And for that video, I used the conference on Twitch by Le Jaloun, the video impartial games, and the second one out of four. So let's take a look at this game. So this is a game of NIM. Basically, you have some amount of NIM leaps, and what you want to do is that every turn you can pick um, as many tokens as you want in a leap, and then the other player does so until the last player picks the last token, and he loses the game. So for example, if I pick one, the computer picks one, two. If I pick two here, he picks two. If I pick three, he'll pick all of this, and so on. Obviously, this is a special configuration with 6 leaps and some different leaps, but some amount of token per leap. But you can get different like amount of token in each leap. So let's view it. Let's view the solution that is proposed by Sprague-Grundy. Okay, so as we know, we have oops. Uh, okay, so we have few tokens in each of the leaps. Okay, so this will be the game 4, 3, 4, and since it's a set, I use this sign. Okay, so this we studied this game. So the opportunity, the first thing the player one can do is try to remove like some of the tokens, and then the computer or the opponent can pick others. So I'm going to explain the way to solve this. So what you're going to do is do a special sum that is exactly like a exclusive OR, but for each number. So you have the 4, 3, 4. So let's convert that to binary. So you get 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, and 1, 0, 0. So this is the binary conversion of this. Then you are going to sum each bit with a XOR. So you have 1 XOR 1 that equals 1, and 1 XOR 0 equals 1. So the first byte would be 1. The first byte would be 1. Okay. So we have a 1, okay. We have a 1 for the first bit. Then we have a 0 XOR 1 that equals 1, XOR 0 that equals 1 as well. Here we have a 1 XOR 0 that equals 1, and XOR 1 that equals 1 as well. So we have a special sum that is 1, 1, 1 in binary, and 4 plus 2 plus 1 equals 4 plus 2 equals 6, 6 plus 1 equals 7. So we have 7. That means that we must we have this sum, and the theorem of Sprague-Grundy says that if that sum equals 0, then you lost. So I'm going to give an example where it's 0. Well, I'm going to start from scratch. Okay, so an example with 0 would be like if there were let's try something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here the sum equals 0 because 4 XOR 4 equals 0. If it's my turn, whatever I pick, so I'm going to be blue, whatever I pick, for example, if I pick 3 here, the solution would be the computer will try to make that sum be 0 again. So it will pick 0 here. It will pick the symmetrical option like here. So now I'm forced to pick this guy or the other one, and then no, so I pick no, it will pick all of these, so I'll have to pick this one. If I pick only these two, it will negate the sum as well, so it will do something like this. So now we know the thing that if the sum, the special sum, equals 0, then we can we lost. That's a theorem for NIM, and let's translate it into an algorithm. So we have an algorithm that gives us the brute force for any NIM leap. So here it's written in French, but it's not very convenient. I recognize. I'm going to show it in Zoom like this. Okay, so here I start with the set 4, 8, 6, 7, and then I'm going to use my function that brute force it. So I do that. Print this. Okay, so what does it give? It tells me the player must take 4 elements at the side of the NIM leap number 1. So the leap that contains 8 elements, this calculus has been obtained after 6 calculus that managed to turn the sum, the digital sum, so the name of the sum I named earlier, that was 13, and that turned it into 0. So let's study how that works. So first I have a function to calculate the digital sum. So at first I copy the list in argument, and I find the local maximum of the numbers. So here for our list, this will be 8. So it just tells us that it's 8. So we know how many places we'll need when we'll convert it to binary. So I convert it to binary and I put it in the list T. So I have a binary written in string. Then I turn the others into binary as well, but with the size of the highest. So there are a few false that I need to add for the high weight bits, and then I put it into an array, and I calculate the digital sum. So as I said, in each bit here, I'll set a value to be false and then calculate the XOR for each of the value in that bit, and then I put it into an array. So that will give me a binary of the same dimension as the highest bit. So that will give me a sum that I call res biner, which is the binary result for the sum. And also I also return the decimal writing for later purposes. So the main function here is that to find an obvious solution. I have an argument that is the list of inputs, and then a non-mandatory argument that is max brute force. That will be the amount of calculus maximum that will give to the system unless it returns something else. So this function will aim for a trivial solution to set the digital sum to 0 of a game of NIM L as an argument. So at first I copy the list Ly and I store it into L. I calculate the digital sum of L, and I call say init the first sum, the sum from the original NIM game. If C equals 0, this means the sum is 0. Then the player already has lost, because as we've seen in the Grundy theorem, if your sum is 0, you have lost. Then then if C happens to be one of the NIM leap, then the solution is obviously to pick everything of that NIM leap, because if you remove all of that, then the sum will be entirely like gone, and then you'll have your thingy. Then we'll try to brute force. I set a value to be 0. That will be the counter of calculus. Then I set two variables j and k, so that we remove k tokens in the NIM leap number j, and then I loop it so that I aim for c to be 0. But there are a few conditions. If j is over the length of L, so if everything in the game has been tried, then there is no solution. And also if the counter for the computations is over the max that I set earlier. So in the while loop, we create an alternative list that is also an alternative game, and then we lower the j the leap number j by the value k. But if k is over that value, then we'll set k to be 1, and we'll just move on to the next leap, to the leap j plus 1. Then we calculate the digital sum of that game, and we loop it to increase k and y every time we loop this. So in solution, we'll either have a game that has c equals to 0, or j over u, or I to be above the maximum of brute force, that is the maximum of computation. So if C equals 0, the player must pick the number k elements in the nim leap number j, so as we've seen here, because it means the k and the j works so that c equals to 0. So this means you play a move so that the game that is after has a digital sum to 0. So it means you play something and the opponent loses, lose. Uh, so the nim leap number j, so the leap that contains lj elements. This calculus has been obtained after I calculus, so as I say, it's our counter that can't exceed max brute force. And then we can nullify the sum that was also C init. However, if we don't find an answer, the result is that we didn't find any calculus, and then we return that thing. So for a small game that I wrote earlier, Z, it's quite easy because like it's small. But if I give a high amount of like tokens in each leap, it's going to be pretty tough. Okay, so now I must pick 4,231 elements in the leap number 0 that contains this amount. This calculus has been obtained after 4,230 calculus that allowed to nullify the sum that was 12,426. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to try to YOLO the values so that we have something in different leaps. Nope, too much in leaps, so 0. Okay, for this one it's taking a bit longer because this one is really huge. Please. Okay, maybe. Okay, he found an answer. So we must pick that many elements from this leap here. So the number 2, so 0, 1, 2. This calculus has been obtained after that many calculus, and that nullified the sum that was this. So yeah, we have a game that that works so that we know how to solve an in-game. However, the thing is that this works with all impartial games, but the thing we must consider is that for impartial game, to turn it into a nim game, we have to calculate a function that's called the Grundy number, and that is defined recursively so that it's the lowest integer. It's the lowest integer that isn't in the set. And it happens that for the nim game, it's just the amount of tokens in that pile. So as I said earlier, for that nim game, the Grundy number is just that number. But for the calculation of Grundy number, you have to define it once recursively, and it's very hard. So yeah, the thing to solve every game, you have to calculate the Grundy number recursively. Well, every impartial game that is p space r impartial game that is p space r, you have to calculate the Grundy number, or also the Grundy function, recursively. Then you have to calculate the digital sum, calculate the digital sum of that game. If it's zero, you are fucked up. You are fucked up. If it's non-zero, you have a strategy to win. So it's just to nullify that sum. And as I showed earlier with the NIM game, you can just brute force it by creating alternative games so that it fits the condition that the sum is zero. So you know which move to play. Finally, there is a theorem that says that every p-space hard impartial game is ultimately periodic. So it means that even if it takes super longer to compute, every impartial game will have a solution like this that is actually computable. But it can take very long. With the octal notation, well, no, I'm not going to talk about that, but there are a few ways to note the impartial games, and one is the octal notation. So NIM has a notation of 0333, meaning that you can split every leap into as many of you want, because you can take as many tokens as you want, but there are others that are finite. Let me find the resources in some seconds. Okay, so I found the numbers. For the game that is noted 0.77, you have 17 calculations of the Grundy number that doesn't follow period, so it's called the pre-period. And then after 70 numbers, there is a period of 12. For the game 0.376, there is a pre-period that is really huge, that is in the 2 millions. So you have 2 millions without following a scheme, and then a period of 4. So it means that it's really complex to calculate it, especially on hand. But you can actually calculate this with this method, because you know the period, you know the pre-period, and you can calculate the number associated with the Grundy number. Because when we calculated when we converted to binary, we have to not convert the number of elements in the NIM leap, because it's not NIM anymore. We must calculate the Grundy number, and for the Grundy number we know its expression depending on how many elements there are in that leap. And for the game 0.106, we have a pre-period that is really huge, and same for the pre-period. So I guess that proves everything. We have a big way to solve impartial games, and that works. So I guess thanks for watching, and bye.